Okay, guys, good morning. Really late today, been scanning the news and stuff like that. Got a lot to tell you in this video, guys. You may or may not find it interesting. We'll be talking about President Trump, Iran, oil prices, uh, the Great Storm of 1987, the King's Cross disaster, the stock market. You name it, we're going to be talking about it. So, before we start, though, someone remarked the other day that they liked my Ukrainian colours. These aren't Ukrainian colours. If I was going to have any colours, I'd probably have Russian colours when it comes to that situation. Anybody recognise this? Yeah? If you do, let me know in the comments, and total respect to you. Right, where are we going to start? Oh, God. Let's start with Iran, is it? This is where it all started to go wrong, guys. When President Trump went over to that, I don't know, that place in the Middle East that seems to cause so much trouble. That's when it started to go wrong, really wrong, yeah. Up until then, I'd had a lot of respect for President Trump, really did. Lost it. It's beginning to make me think all those promises he made, locking up Hillary Clinton, stopping the war in a day, not going to invade any more countries, just going to bring the soldiers home. Yeah, he said all the right things. The only good thing he's doing now, probably the only thing that keeps him as president, is deporting all the illegal immigrants. I thought he'd stand up to Israel, I really did. But he hasn't, has he? He's doing everything they want him to do. The tail is really wagging the dog. And he lies. His lies have become so obvious. This hurts me to talk about this. I've followed this man since 2015. You know, I really did think he was a man of integrity. Problem is, people think that other people are like themselves. So I think when I talk to someone, they think the same way as me. It took me decades, most of my life, to realize that we're all different and we don't all think the same way and we all don't have the same values. I mean, the business of those schoolgirls, yeah, in Iran, 160 of them. He said the other day that Iran did it themselves. And this despite the American military already having apologized for the deaths of those young girls. You know I'm no great lover of Iran. I don't give a shit what they do to each other out there, you know. But I do think that our leaders should at least get their story straight. Yeah, that was wrong. Anyhow, we got to move on. Yeah. Okay. I told you the other day that statement by President Trump's spokesman talking about the attacks on Iran, that America had no choice but to carry out preemptive strikes on Iran because Israel, without the permission of America, started the war in Iran. And America carried out preemptive strikes because they said they knew Iran would attack them. So America has no control over Israel, none at all. So people have been dragged into a war in order to build a greater Israel. Anyhow, let's have a look at this, the Kobesi letter over on X. The US is dismayed by Israel's strikes on 30 Iranian oil depots, sparking the first significant disagreement between the allies since the war began, per Axios. The strikes reportedly went far beyond what the US expected when Israel notified it in advance. We don't think it was a good idea, a senior US official said. An Israeli official said the US message to Israel was, "What the fuck?" The president doesn't like the attack. He wants to save the oil. He doesn't want to burn it. And it reminds people of higher gas prices, a Trump advisor said. US gas prices now expected to surge well above $4/gallon this month. Now, what's to follow isn't really complicated, but it's how the money markets work and the way the people who run the world work, yeah? Have a think about that for a second. I've got to pause, clear my thoughts. So, back on the wall there, where he banged his brains out. Trump's support for Israel is beginning to make me think that there may well be something about his name being in the Epstein files, yeah? I'm not saying there is. To be honest, I'd be extremely disappointed in him. Well, I'm already disappointed in him. But there may actually be something in it for him to put another country before the America he said he wanted to make great again. Now, he assassinates, murders foreign leaders. He carries out piracy on the high seas. He destroys countries with sanctions. And he's getting perhaps God knows how many people killed to aid another country. Why would he do that? Perhaps there is something in the Epstein files. Anyhow, back over to the Kobesi letter. Okay guys, back on the wall, making me think. Is there something in it? The Epstein files? Is that why he does what he does? Piracy on the high seas? Assassinating murdering foreign leaders? War? Why would he do that? Are there videotapes of him somewhere that he's prepared to kill perhaps hundreds of thousands of people just to keep that video file locked away somewhere in Tel Aviv? I don't know. Anyhow, I've wandered off, lost the plot, per usual. Oh. Yeah, I know it's early in the morning, 8:30, to be drinking rum and water, but I did get dehydrated the other day, so I thought, can't have that. And so I thought I'd have a rum and put plenty of water in it so I don't get dehydrated. Besides, I'm going to need it for some of the stories I'm going to tell you now. So let's get over to the Kobesi letter again. Normally deals in financial matters. Let's go down, see what some of the responses are. Yeah, the world is beginning to wake up, isn't it? Look at me, I'm the president now. Well, that's not the story I was going to tell you, but that's what's coming up. So let's get over to this Kobesi letter and look at the oil markets. Look at this. Those are bell candles. I'm going to show you a video of something about my time in the stock market. Those are bell candles. They're quite useful, really, if you're into technical analysis. It can show you the opening price and the closing price. Well, read this. US oil price is currently attempting one of their biggest reversals in history. This is really interesting. 10:30 oil prices were up as much as 30% on the day. Let's go down. There's your bell candles. People are making billions. Ordinary people are losing millions, but there are a few people making billions on this. They knew exactly what they were doing. Buying short, selling long. Yeah. And politicians will have made millions and billions on this. All to do with releasing 400 million barrels of oil. The prices soared, and then just before the news broke that would affect the oil price market, they bailed out and sold, leaving others to take the loss. I know quite a bit about how the stock market operates because I used to be a day trader stroke short-term trader. Let's go over here. This is one of the first videos I made. It's only had 30 views. I'm going to leave a link on it. Let's play a bit of it, is there?
Monday, October 19th, 1987. I was one of the first to see the market crash. I walked in early, as was my wont, round about 7:30 in the morning. And a young man, he was a former guards officer. I can't quite remember his name. If I think it'll come back. But as I walked through the doors, he said, "Paul, you've got to come and see this." And I walked over and he said, "Look at the boards." And there was a huge wall with all the share prices of all the companies that were being traded. The trading floor was up on the top floor, ranks and ranks of traders. I could tell you a story about how I almost closed it down by giving copies of a trading game to the real life traders, and they started trading in the game instead of trading the markets. But that's a different story. Anyhow, I looked up at the wall and every single screen was red, really red. And that was Monday, October the 19th, 1987. Ah, well, the world took a pasting. And as it says here, it was the biggest stock market crash in a single day ever. Well, I didn't let that put me off because I also met then a young vice president, a female actually. By the way, vice president, there's lots of vice presidents in an organization, so it's not just one person. There could be a dozen or more vice presidents. It's a rank. And so I met a young woman, a director on the top floor. One day I was helping her out with a PC problem. I was doing tech support as well as maintaining the database. And she gave me a quicker run around on how to trade the stock market. First time I'd ever seen a touch screen. Yeah, they had them way back then in 87, touch screens. Thought it was amazing. Well, she got me introduced to the stock market and I started trading the markets whilst I was working. I bought this book. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. There we go. Technical Analysis of the Financial Markets. Big book. That book changed my life. I read it, studied it, read it again, studied it, then I started trading. Opened up a ShareScope account, got myself an online trading account, a real-time online trading account, and I was into it, and I was making money, a lot of money, as well as the money I was making for contracting. So I carried on that for years, and at one point I thought that I can't afford to work. I'm losing too much money by working and not just trading the markets. And then this happened. I was working, fixing computer systems, recoding, legacy code, preparing for the year 2000. Some of you might remember back then they thought the world was going to end in 2000 because the computers wouldn't be able to handle the year 2000, because when the original programs were written, they didn't think they would get into the year 2000, and so they couldn't cope. And so people like me were earning another fortune getting the computers ready. I was doing it for Sun Alliance and the post office simultaneously. Well, whilst there, I was still trading away. I had a mobile setup so I could keep an eye on the stocks and shares. And I tell you what, there is nothing more exhilarating or frightening than watching your share price drop and you want to bail out fast. Well, in the year 2000, the stock market took a dive, and boy, did it crash big. And I lost, no, my profits were completely slashed. But fortunately, I remembered Black Monday. And in the interim period, I had this made. Can you see it? Cut losses, run profits. Don't break the rules. I had that made because I was always breaking the rules. I knew that sometimes I would hold on to a stock longer than I should because I hoped that it would bounce back. However, I decided to bail. I'd lost thousands out of my profits when this happened, and I just wasn't prepared to go through what they went through on Black Monday. So I bailed, liquidated all my stock, and walked away with just £12,000 profit. I suppose, yeah, some people might think that was a lot at the time, but it was nothing compared to what I was earning as an IT contract manager. So I bailed out, I walked away with £12,000, and that was enough to pay a third of a deposit on quite a large house, a second house. So where is this going, you ask? Well, when I was looking at our channel analytics, that is what reminded me of my days as a trader. And I wondered about one particular sharing company. Its stock code was PET. Sometimes they refer to them as EPIC codes. This is the company. Petrol Resources.
Okay, guys, I'm gonna put a link to that video in the description. It only had 30 views. It's a fascinating story, really fascinating. Now, talking about events of 1987, I feel a bit like Samuel Pepys at sometimes. I don't know if you know some of you will remember who Samuel Pepys was. He was a diarist. He was present at some of the biggest events in London's histories around about the time of the Great Fire, and he recorded everything. Well, in 1987, that was a really eventful year. And thinking about that article on the Guardian Angel brings back two incidents where I may well have had a guardian angel with me then without me knowing it. Have a listen to this. It's Michael Fish. Listen to what he says here.
Very windy, but most of the strong winds, incidentally, will be down over. Good afternoon to you. Earlier on today, apparently a woman rang the BBC and said she heard that there was a hurricane on the way. Well, if you're watching, don't worry, there isn't. But having said that, actually, the weather will become very...
Michael Fish. A woman had told him that there was an hurricane on the way. He said, no, there ain't. What happened? The Great Storm of 1987. Now, during my time up in London, I was a yuppie. I was a 100% jerk. And I mean it. Work hard, play hard. Down the Harbour Charger, drinking in options, yeah. Paying £35 for a bottle of champagne in 87, bloody ridiculous. £200 lunches. I felt inadequate because I only had a green American Express card. Oh, God. Anyhow, the Great Storm of 1987. I woke up one morning, come downstairs, the hotel, it was the Euston Square Hotel on the Circle Line. You can't miss it. It was a cheap hotel, really. And it was before I got a flat on Baker Street. When I returned a few years later, and I'd climbed the ladder, if you like. Windows blown out, everything. And the hotel manager said, we tried to get you out of your room, Mr. Morris, but you were just past it. So they left me there. I slept through the storm. All the windows were blown out. Cars overturned. I walked down into the city. It was like the apocalypse. It wasn't really funny. Lots of people died. And yeah, I got away with it again. I don't know. Guess God looks after drunken sailors. But there was a more equally serious event that happened as well. It was this, the King's Cross fire. That was another tragedy. I was riding the tube to go to King's Cross to meet with some people I had worked with previously on another contract in Camden Council on their parking meter system. And I could see the smoke coming up through there. I got off at the previous stop and decided that I was going to give it a miss because my kidneys were hurting, and my kidneys used to hurt a lot in those days, and I'd seen the smoke billowing out. And so I got off at the station before King's Cross, and of course that train then went straight into the heart of the fire. So a lot happened in 1987 for me, guys, a lot. But I think I'll stop it here now. I'm going to leave a link to that story about my time at the stock market. It's only had 30 views, but it's really interesting because it talks about a man who I respected and who I followed and his death, you know. Some men lead exciting lives, and David Organ did, that's for sure. Anyhow, you've been listening to Paul Morris, Rantings of an Old Man, sometimes known as the Green Arrow, but nobody ever called him the nation's favourite grandfather, right? I don't know where that come from. That's a myth started by Hope Not Hate or the Antifa guys. It's the Green Arrow. See you on the next one, guys. Lost the plot on this one, Paul.